it's been fun to watch a lot of players, I think, improve, and that's all players. Veteran players like Morris, Kirksey, and Hitchens, who have played a lot, down to guys like you saw Blake Luska today. Do a really nice job making some nice grabs. That one in the end zone, or near end zone, was really nice, and he's had a good week. So kind of came alive the last couple of workouts, and that's a fun part about spring practice, is you get to evaluate the whole team and just see how things are moving. So all in all, very pleased about that, and we have a lot of work to do certainly, but that's how it's supposed to be. But very enthused about the way the players have approached this 15-day period.
So what's the latest on the quarterbacks?
Probably about what it was earlier. Clearly cloudy, and we didn't really plan on making any decisions coming out of today. And you have to look at the tape and all that. But I think all of them are doing some good things. All of them have things to work on, and we'll try to address those things moving forward. And the obvious things, none of them have played yet. So today, it's not an official game, but at least it gives them in game situations and game circumstances, and it'll be a good learning tool for all of them. And I think the good thing about all three guys right now, they'll be able this summer to go back and look at these 15 practices, and I think it'll mean more to them, and hopefully all three of them will play even better when August comes around.
Was that sort of the driver behind the scoring system in 4 quarters, was just to give the quarterbacks a taste of game?
It was part of it, and we've probably done more of that type of work without keeping score, but just playing football, if you will, this spring than we have in any spring prior, and it seems like it was good for the entire team. And I think we'll probably have to do more of that in August too, but hopefully that'll help expedite the process a little bit. And the one thing I did learn today, I think clearly, the scoring system was devised by an offensive coach. I felt like we were in an arena game out there at one point, but I guess that's a good thing. Arena ball's been discovered in Iowa, right? Invented in Iowa, so whole theme there. But it was good. I think the players enjoyed that part of it.
Have you begun to notice even a tiny bit of separation with the quarterbacks, though, since you've gone away from going every 2 plays to allowing them to control a drive?
Yeah, it's really not even worth talking about at this point. I think we'll go through this coming week, Greg, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. But like I said, I think they're all doing some things well. They all have some things to work on, and the good thing is that we're not playing until the end of August, so we have a lot of time right now to let things kind of sort themselves out, if you will. And we'll, once we get into August camp, at some point we're going to have to start differentiating a little bit and steer it one way or the other. But I think right now we just want to let them continue to compete.
Carl Davis is a player now, maybe believes in himself a little bit, can make some plays for you.
You see players improve. I think it's one of the fun things about spring practice and camp. Players don't always enjoy it as much as the coaches, but I mentioned, I think Morris, Kirksey, they've played pretty well for us. Hitch, I know he's made a lot of tackles, but I think he played better this spring, and that's experience. That's the value of experience and the benefit of experience. And then get a guy like Carl who really hasn't played that many snaps from the line of scrimmage, but he clearly has taken a step this spring. So that was really good to see, and he's a big guy who's capable. He's got a great attitude, and I think he's finally starting to develop the confidence that it takes to play successfully. So there's no way to hand a player that. They've got to go out and earn that, and it happens for him at different times. But I think he's not there yet, but he's certainly on the road, and this was his best period of football for us since he's been on campus.
It looked like he was held back a little bit by his knee injury last year, or he held himself back. Is he now just kind of just playing, not worrying about those?
That's a big factor for most players. If they have injuries, and a lot of things happen during careers, and it's rare when a player doesn't have to deal with an injury, and he certainly did. So yeah, he missed an awful lot of time. He's basically a guy helping out the other guys last spring, and that impedes a player's progress tremendously. Austin Blythe was a guy last year who was doing some good things early in the season, had that injury, and then he never, when he came back, he was playing okay, but he never got to the level he was at, right before he got hurt. And now he's playing a lot differently than he did at any time last year. So that's a benefit of the experience. But injuries, especially with younger guys that haven't played much, really impede progress. It's a big factor. And you just hope it doesn't happen, but when it does, that's one more hurdle the player has to overcome.
Has Haluska moved up the ladder some at receiver?
I'll be honest. He was fairly invisible for the majority of spring practice, and then this past week he really has done some good things. He had a good practice both Wednesday and Thursday, and caught our eye, and certainly today he took another step forward. And, you know, and historically for us, you know, we've needed people to step forward that maybe nobody saw coming, stories that you didn't see coming, and not ready to crown them right now, but certainly this has been a good 3-day period, not just today. And you know, we need help everywhere, so that'd be a great thing. So he's got I hope he walked away today feeling better about himself after this past week than he did maybe a week or 2 weeks ago.
Likewise, is Cameron Wilson taken off, or was he in the mix pretty much before today?
Today was probably his best day out there too, I would say. And you know, so he's been hit or miss a little bit, but today he did some good things, and you know, he's a young player, so you know, kind of like the quarterbacks. Hopefully he can take this and make himself a better player when we get going in August, and put a good month of practice together there.
What's a lot of no huddle today? Is that A, does it help the quarterbacks, and B, you move in that direction?
Yeah, I don't know if it helps the quarterbacks. It maybe puts a little more pressure on them even, and you know. But I think the harder we make it, that's not a bad thing. And one thing about it, you know, we may use more of it, we may not. We'll see what it looks like. There have been times this spring where I would have said no way because it looks terrible, but we kind of anticipated that going in. It's a little tougher on everybody, the communication aspect. And then I think it also benefits the defense because we play so much of it during the course of the season. So I think the more we can do it in practice, it's not hurting us. It makes it a little bit more challenging for the offensive guys, but also it probably makes it more challenging for the defense if we can execute what we're doing on offense. And so I think, you know, at the end of the day, hopefully after 15 days, we're better for it. Although again, there were some times where it didn't look so good. I got to be honest with you there. In fact, it looked awful at times. So, but at least I think we're getting better.
Ken Zeri, is he a guy who can maybe help you in a couple positions, not only running back, but in slot or something?
Yeah, you know, we talked about injuries, and you know, so Jordan probably could have played at the end of last year. I'm not sure it would have been prudent, and but he was moving around pretty well. But he wasn't getting tackled either, and that, you know, it's the last hurdle for any back or skilled player. But he's really done a nice job this spring. He did okay over Des Moines last Saturday. He had a really good day, probably his best day, I think, on our football team. And then he saw some good things today too. So we feel better about that. And then Mike Malloy, you know, staying on the injury theme. Mike really hasn't been cleared. He worked a little bit with the trainers at the end of last week, I think. But I think Wednesday was his first day of really going full speed as a football player, working with us. And I thought he did some really nice things today too, and he's a guy we're kind of intrigued with, so that's encouraging as well. And you know, history's proven, you know, we need all the help we can get, you know, especially at that position.
With some, Damon Bullock has a little wide receiver on his resume. With running backs emerging, do you think that direction for him?
Yeah, and Damon, you know, touched on the linebackers. I think both Damon and Mark have really improved this spring, and you know, they're more confident, more just there's more presence to both those guys. And we haven't really worked Damon much in the passing game this spring. We kind of kept them in the backfield and wanted to get the other guys as much work as possible. But I think that's something certainly we may realistically you know, utilize more of, because you know, I think he's proven he's a guy who can help us move the football and make some plays for us. So we've never had too many of those types of guys, and hopefully we can utilize him in a smart way next year.